I am back with my self-imposed coloring challenge, and today we are doing the fourth page with only yellow. Should I just go ahead and spoil this little video for you by saying this is my favorite page so far? I guess I spoiled it already. Yep, I think it's my favorite page, but it was one of the most intimidating at one point, and I felt intimidated even though it was the first time I had so many markers I could use. Look at them! I had so many shades of yellow to begin with. This was impressive for me. I started, of course, by protecting my pages from the bleeding of the markers by placing a piece of cardstock behind the page I was going to color. I also got my coloring pencils ready and swatched the markers. After swatching the markers is where the fear started to creep in because I had to discard some of them because they were too pale and barely noticeable. So now I had 6. I thought the best thing to do was to jump right in, and as soon as I painted that first lava lamp, I was worried because the lamps were so close together and had so many details. How was I going to paint them all in shades of yellow? I thought they were going to look all the same. I mean, yellow can definitely be a scary color, so that made me nervous, so I stopped painting the lamp altogether and I used the darker toasted yellow to do the wooden platform on the car. Using the darkest color on wood made sense and was not scary. Another thing that made this page hard to color at the beginning was that, as you can see, the color that shows as soon as you put it down is not how it actually looks when it dries. See, I'm adding the same color on the top here, and it definitely does not look like the same color at the bottom. I had to wait till they dried for a couple of seconds to really know what I was working with. While that area of the lamp dried and I continued to ponder how I would paint those intricate and very close together lava lamps, I jumped onto coloring the car. The cars on this coloring book are usually the largest area to color and the focal point of the page, so I like to choose a color for it in the early stages and just go with it and paint it all. Again, you can see here how much the markers changed when they dried, and I forgot about this when I was doing the shadows for the seat, which didn't dry right. A few seconds later and it does look a little different, but I thought it was okay. I tried to layer the color for the little panda to make a darker yellow, so I gave it 2 layers with the same very pale yellow. And while doing that, I realized that maybe having a black piece of cardstock was making the alcohol markers look so different because the alcohol from the marker makes the page a little bit transparent and the black is just making it look darker. So, I don't know, I just put a silicone mat behind the page and tried again. Not sure about this theory, but it may be. I really want to get good at using alcohol markers. They are such a satisfying medium to use for me. That's why every time I use them, I try to do something different, like add shadows to improve. When I colored this page, I hadn't yet seen Sarah Renee Clark's latest video on markers, which has inspired me so much. I think I learned a lot, so I can't wait to put some of the things she demonstrated to use on my next one color page. I'll link her video in the description below so you'll see the amazing potential that markers have. Anyhow, I found an extra shade of yellow on my little Ohuhu marker set, so I thought I would bring it in for the body of the car. And I have to tell you, first when I was putting it down, I was so afraid that this would look too orangey. But as always, I trusted the process and carried on. And I also tried to tie in this color on the rest of the page as best as I could by adding little details. Being a little bit more familiar with my shades of yellow, I decided to go for another lava lamp, and this time I would go from the inside out. So I started by coloring the cute little cats and then just coloring the layers around them, which I guess is the thick liquid they're floating in. This is so weird, but I love it so much, and the cat lamp is my favorite for sure. I colored in the background, and again I jumped back to the car because it occurred to me that I could tone down the orangeness of the toasted yellow by going over some of the details with a yellow paint marker. I actually think this was a great idea, and it did make it look a little bit more balanced and more yellow than orange. I really love the fact that you can use your paint markers over coloring pages. whether you're using alcohol markers or coloring pencils. It's amazing. I also grabbed one of my bright yellow alcohol markers and layered it on top of the whole car in an attempt to make it even more yellow and less toasted orange. Then I started to color in the rest of the details of the car, and I tried to give the top of the car a little bit of extra shadows to make it more special. As I said before, I'm trying to improve, so I'm trying out things, trying to blend those shadows as best as I could. I also learned from Sarah's video that the paper you use with alcohol markers is really important. So I know this Amazon paper is not the best, but it works great for my coloring enjoyment because my priority is liking the image I have to color and just be satisfied with it. So even if the paper is not great, I did love the result. For the sign, I again layered different colors, but this time I used a brighter, lighter yellow as a base. It may be me being crazy, but I think there's a tiny difference in the shade depending on the order on which you layer your markers. Again, jumping back to the lamps and onto the third one, on this one I went outside the lines a bit, so I thought I could remedy that by painting on top with a super light yellow paint marker. I know I've mentioned this before, but coloring is becoming one of my favorite activities I do to relax on a weekend, and I actually filmed this video a while ago. I just hadn't gone into editing it yet. So I don't remember a lot of my thoughts while using only yellow, but I can see from the footage how much I'm trying to polish my coloring and to improve the way I do shadows with the markers. I actually didn't use the color pencils at all for this page. For the little lights, I used a marker that I had discarded at the beginning because it looked too green when I swatched it. For some reason, I thought it would be good for the light bulbs, but no, definitely too green. So I tried to remedy that by layering it with so many other shades of yellow. And because that didn't work, my best solution was to again go over them with the paint marker. And that little action, for some reason, inspired me to try something I've never done before, and that is to add white highlights. I don't know why I've never tried it before, and I don't know if it's only this time because it's on top of yellow, but I really think the little highlights took the coloring of this page to the next level. Inspired by the highlights, I also made the lettering for the sign a lot lighter with another paint marker, and here's my final result. I love this page, absolutely love it. I'm so happy with how it came out. And another thing I love about this one is that it's the first one that I can flip and it still looks like the same color on the other side. This page definitely looks yellow from the back, and I love that somehow the panda driving is now a cute little chick. Okay, that is it from me. I left you a poll on my community tab so you can help me decide how I will deliver the next page of this challenge to you. With that, I'll see you on my regular video on Friday, and I hope you're having the most wonderful day. Bye!